The dust might have settled, but it's time for the Avengers to reassemble and take on Thanos once more. There's not many heroes left out there in the cosmos, but if they have any hope in defeating Thanos, certain heroes will have to step up, come together, and play an important role in reclaiming the universe. Before we get started, be sure to click on that subscribe button and hit the little bell to stay up to date with everything Screen Rant.
You don't think they need me?
I think they do, which is a lot scarier.
Hawkeye. Hawkeye was noticeably absent during the events of Infinity War, and many people got to wondering where he was. There was a throwaway line in the film that told us he and Ant-Man took a deal with the government after Civil War in order to see their families. But with half of the universe and a good chunk of the Avengers wiped from the planet, you can bet Hawkeye will be coming into the foil.
Okay, look, the city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow.
So how does a man with no superpowers tie into the plan to take down Thanos? The Avengers are down, divided, and some of them are lucky enough to be alive and need all the help they can get. Hawkeye has been part of the team since the first film, but he's also going to be the father figure of the family for a while and work on mending old wounds to reunite the team so they can working together. We're talking about you, Iron Man and Captain America.
Please, let me show you how it's done.
Captain Marvel. The post-credit sequence in Avengers Infinity War gave us a glimpse of a hero we haven't seen on the big screen yet. The small symbol showcased belonged to Captain Marvel, who will get her own prequel film released 2 months before Avengers 4 comes out. With the scheduling plan, you know Captain Marvel is going to be pretty important to the plot. Captain Marvel is one of the strongest characters in the entire Marvel roster. She's immensely powerful, and depending on the publication year, her list of powers are varied. She's been known to be resistant to any toxin thanks to her Kree biology, and has even traveled at light speed and has manipulated matter to her will. She can survive in space and has a sixth sense for danger not unlike the Spidey sense. Sounds like an important ally to have in the fight against Thanos.
Just for once in your life, don't smash!
Big monster!
Hulk. Hulk is considered to be one of the strongest characters in the Marvel roster in terms of raw strength, and his power only gets stronger the angrier he gets. Which was why it was baffling to see the Hulk get completely owned by Thanos. But he was able to beat Hulk into submission to the point where Hulk decided he had enough of Banner in fighting and refused to come out for the rest of the film. Now that the universe needs the remaining heroes, Hulk is going to have to come out and smash.
And Hulk. Smash.
You bet Hulk is going to have to call for a rematch with the Mad Titan. While the rest of the team formulates another plan to retrieve the gauntlet and the stones, you can bet that Hulk will be one of the few who will be tasked with fighting the good fight head on.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
Doctor Strange. Before succumbing to the finger snap and turning to dust, Doctor Strange took a few minutes to peek into the future and witnessed over 14 million outcomes where the collected heroes on Titan fight Thanos. Of all those outcomes, only one had the potential to have a win. It's very likely that Doctor Strange's endgame is already in effect. If it is, this technically means Thanos has already lost, based on the information collected by Doctor Strange in the Time Stone's 1 out of 14 million preview. So, in a way, Doctor Strange has already proved his contribution by setting in motion events that will ultimately bring down the Mad Titan. In order to win, they have to lose, but Strange knew that sacrifice was needed first. However, it's likely that he knew he'd be coming back in the end, and when he does and Thanos is disarmed, his mastery of the mystic arts will prove invaluable.
I could do this all day.
Captain America. The Avengers are disassembled, but they need to come back together if they have any hope in defeating Thanos and undoing all he's done. In order to do that, the team is going to need a leader, and that leader is, of course, none other than Steve Rogers. He's dropped the whole Captain America thing at the end of Civil War, but duty calls, and it's time for Cap to become the beacon on hope and inspiration he was once known for.
The price of freedom is high, and it's a price I'm willing to pay.
He was actually holding out okay against Thanos, who was armed with all of the Infinity Stones. We knew Cap was strong, but seeing him grab Thanos' punch and halting it was a sign that Steve's power and determination to stop bad things from happening is exceptional. In times of crisis, people look towards their leaders for guidance. Steve is that character who will not only lead them, but inspire them to do better and get down into the fight with his teammates and allies. Steve is likely emotionally rocked after losing Bucky in the dusting, so now things are even more personal for him.
It kind of feels personal.
We think an angry Steve Rogers is definitely something to be afraid of, and Thanos should watch out for Steve leading an angry Avengers team on him.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Thor. The god of thunder was the only Avenger who came close to taking out Thanos in Infinity War. He spent most of that film forging a powerful new Asgardian weapon that would be strong enough to take out a Titan. Most mortal weapons would be ineffective against him in the first place, but combined with the power of the Infinity Stones, Thanos is more or less unstoppable. So, looks like lightning will have to strike twice here. Thor is one of the small handful of characters who can actually go toe-to-toe with Thanos.
If I can't hit you with the hammer, then I'll hit the hammer with you!
He was defeated in the beginning of the film, but the surprise attack didn't do him any favors. On the Wakandan battlefield with his mighty axe, he proved that if anyone's going to fight Thanos head-on, it's Thor. Since Infinity War put a large amount of its screen time on Thor's mission to get a new weapon only to have him fail by the film's end, it's likely that the Russo brothers will continue to put extra emphasis on Thor and his weapon to make those parts of the film more relevant going forward. Next time, just aim a little higher, okay, Point Break?
Binarily augmented retroframing, or BARF. God, I gotta work on that acronym.
Iron Man. Doctor Strange's master plan ultimately needed Tony Stark by the looks of it. Iron Man was going toe-to-toe with Thanos on Titan and was taking a beating. He deserves some serious praise, though, for fighting the good fight with his armor in pieces and clearly not doing much against Thanos. Their fight ends with Tony getting speared and clinging to life. Thanos is about to finish him off when Doctor Strange barters for his life using the Time Stone. This is where things get interesting. Throughout the entire film, Strange has made a point of telling Tony and the audience that the stone comes first, and he's completely okay with his newfound allies dying if it means protecting the stone. With Strange's plan relying on the future, it's likely that Tony will play a really important role in defeating Thanos. Some think that BARF, the virtual memory diary that was introduced in Civil War, will allow Tony to re-explore his past and gather some key information on Thanos that is locked away in Tony's mind. With these memories unlocked, Tony can come up with a plan to defeat Thanos or to retrieve the gauntlet.
When Thanos took my home world, he killed my parents in front of me.
GAMORA. But wait, Gamora's dead. How could she be the key to defeating her father? Well, Gamora is truly dead. No one remains dead in a comic book story, and that applies to the MCU. Gamora was tragically sacrificed by her father for the Soul Stone, but many believe Gamora will indeed be coming back in Avengers 4. Seeing as how the Soul Stone was in such close proximity, many fans believe that her spirit ended up trapped within the stone. Directors Joe and Anthony Russo confirmed this theory, stating that the orange plane where Thanos sees the child version of Gamora is in fact the Soul World. Gamora, and many others perhaps, will be restored, and Gamora can expect her revenge on her father for not only killing her, but for actually going through with killing half of the universe.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Thanos. What if Thanos' greatest threat is actually himself? We don't know if Avengers 4 takes place where Infinity War ended or if there's a time jump, but we can expect a lot more of Thanos due to the call-out in the credits, which stated Thanos and not the Avengers will return in Avengers 4. This likely means that Thanos' story isn't over yet, and he still has some growing to do as a character. He wiped out half the universe with a snap of a finger, but at what cost? What if the loss of Gamora ended up being too much for him, and slowly but surely it starts eating away at what little soul Thanos has left? Using the power of the Time Stone himself, Thanos could actually undo everything that he's done out of guilt. It's also quite possible that if there's a time jump, he could see that his plan ultimately didn't have the desired effect he initially wanted, and seeing that he had to sacrifice his favorite daughter for nothing, he could undo everything and set the world back to its original state. Thanos did seem genuinely upset about having to sacrifice Gamora, and it's quite possible that the peace he sought won't come after all.
Thanos is invincible.
Invincible? Didn't they have dictionaries on Titan?
Well, that That's it for now, everyone. Who do you think will be the most important hero in Avengers 4? Who will be the one to claim the defeat of the Mad Titan? Or will Thanos be the one to ultimately undo all that he's done? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this in your playlist every day. Thanks for watching.